Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, Nigeria. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has returned to Nigeria after a state visit to the Republic of Turkey, arriving in Abuja at about 8:55 p.m., where he was received by senior government officials. The president traveled to Turkey on January 26, 2026 as part of efforts to strengthen diplomatic, economic and security ties between Abuja and Ankara. Following Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's official visit to Nigeria in October 2021. During the visit, both leaders signaled 9 memoranda of understanding aimed at expanding bilateral trade from $2 billion to $5 billion, while also sealing agreements on energy, defense, cooperation, education, media, and halal quality infrastructure to boost Nigeria's agricultural exports. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has called for the reactivation of a regional standby force to address growing insecurity across West Africa and Sahel, urging neighboring countries to deepen intelligence sharing and collective action against terrorism. The president's position was conveyed by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, at a security conference held in Accra, Ghana, where Nigeria reaffirmed its commitment to regional peace and stability. Tinubu also highlighted Nigeria's National Counter-Terrorism Center in Abuja as a potential intelligence and operations hub, while warning that terrorism groups are increasingly exploiting cyberspace to spread misinformation and undermine regional security. Vice President Kashim Shettima has formally welcomed Taraba State Governor Agbo Kefas into the All Progressive Congress, APC, describing the ruling party as one where political differences are resolved through inclusion, performance, and national purpose. Speaking in Jalingo on behalf of President Bola Tinubu, Shettima said Kefas' decision to defect from the People's Democratic Party, that is PDP, strengthen national cohesion and position Taraba State to benefit more directly from federal policies on agriculture, energy, and infrastructure. The Senate President, APC national leadership, and other party stakeholders described the move as strategic, while Governor Kefas said his defection was driven by the need to accelerate development and create better opportunities for youth and communities in the state. The federal government says it is engaging the United States through diplomatic channels to secure Nigeria's removal from the list of countries affected by Washington's recent immigrant visa restrictions. The U.S. had on January 14 announced an immigrant visa pause affecting 75 countries, including Nigeria, with the directive taking effect from January 21, 2026, raising concern among Nigerians seeking permanent residency and employment opportunities in America. Speaking with newsmen, the Director of Media, Public Relations and Protocols at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebi Ibiefa, said visa issuance remains the sovereign right of nations, but assured that Nigeria is in active dialogue with U.S. authorities, stressing that the federal government remains committed to protecting Nigerians abroad and strengthening bilateral relations with Washington, while expressing optimism that Nigeria would be delisted once identified concerns are resolved. The federal government has commenced the training of 100 Ogoni youths in macroeconomics to boost human capacity development and sustainable livelihoods in Ogoni land. The training, which is under the Federal Ministry of Environment, is being conducted through the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, that is HEPREV. Environmental correspondent Ubom Usoro will bring us that report.
The federal government says the training of 100 Ogoni youths in mechatronics is part of efforts to boost human capital development and promote sustainable livelihoods in Ogoniland. The project coordinator of HYPER, Professor Nene Barini Zabi, represented by Director of Technical Services, Professor Damian Paul Agui, said the initiative reflects the federal government's resolve to move beneficiaries from low-end to high-end skills acquisition.
I plead to you, my brothers and sisters, to please, let's take this training with all the seriousness it deserves, and let's apply what we learn.
Professor Zabi noted that mechatronics program is one of the 10 high-end skills training scheduled for rollout this year, stressing that HYPER is committed to delivering their best training opportunities to the people of Ogoni. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt, Professor Ogunari Joshua, said Nigeria needs globally relevant and economically viable skills to drive national development. He urged the trainees to maximize opportunity through dedication and discipline.
This initiative is aimed at building technical capacity in mechatronics engineering among the youths of Ogoni. You are therefore being equipped with skills that are globally relevant and economically empowering.
The trainer, Makosi Samuel, disclosed that the 4-month program will combine theoretical instruction with intensive hand-on practical sessions. He said the training will equip participants with problem-solving skills for complex engineering challenges, preparing them for teamwork and project management in modern digital oil and gas industries, and instill strict adherence to safety, environmental, and ethical standards.
Firstly, I know that this is a training that will create platform for sharing ideas, fostering relationship, and celebrating achievements. The training is not just about the event itself, but about the opportunity it presents. It will impact on them significantly in capacity building.
The 100 beneficiaries were selected through a computer-based test conducted in February 2023. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, says it will deploy more than 3,000 bimodal voters accreditation system, that is BVAS, devices for the Federal Capital Territory Area Council election scheduled for February 21, 2026. INEC officials disclosed that 3,345 BVAS devices will be deployed across the 2,822 polling units in the FCT, with some used directly for voters' accreditation, while others will serve as backup to ensure a hitch-free process. The Commission is also expected to conduct a mock voter accreditation exercise in February to test the devices and electronic transmission of results ahead of the polls across the 6 area council of Abaji, Amak, Boari, Gwagwalada, Kuje, and Kwali, where 68 elective positions will be contested by 637 candidates fielded by 17 political parties. The African Democratic Congress has called on the National Assembly to urgently pass the Electoral Bill 2025, warning that continued delays could undermine critical electoral reforms and threaten the credibility of the 2027 elections. ADC Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi, in a statement, says the party accused the APC-led Senate of delaying the bill and warned against weakening or stalling key reforms like electronic voter accreditation and results transmission during plenary. The Senate inaugurated a 7-member ad hoc committee to review, harmonize, and streamline senators' contributions to the proposed amendments to the Electoral Act as part of renewed effort to fortify Nigeria's electoral framework ahead of the 2027 general elections. Getting home safely has become a daily gamble for millions of commuters on the Federal Capital Territory and its environs. This is because as public transport systems fail, criminal networks have stepped in, posing as commercial drivers and turning routine journeys into terrifying ordeals. Sadia Yakub gives us the breakdown of public transportation and how it continues to fuel the deadly one-chance phenomenon.
This is one of the busiest bus stops in the city, but as night approaches, government-owned buses disappear, regulated transport systems shut down, and commuters are left with one option: unregistered, unverified vehicles. This is where the nightmare often begins. Known on the street as One Chance, these criminal operators disguise themselves as public transport. Victims are robbed, assaulted, kidnapped, and in some cases, killed.
You go see them, they will come bus stop like this. Instead of them to enter motorway, they bus stop. They no go green enter. They go to do sharp. Before you know, One Chance where they park. Because One Chance need they park. One Chance, no, they need they park their motor. Say we make them park. Because if they park, they go cast. Because all of us here now, we are ready to start taxi.
In many cities, public buses are too few, poorly maintained, or completely absent after working hours. Rail systems are unreliable. Transport policies are inconsistent. The result, depression.
Joblessness is one of it. And idleness, laziness, let me put it that way, because some people, they feel getting a mere job that will pay them few money, they want fast money, they want quick money, so they feel one way for them to get it is by ripping off people at their hard-earned money.
These criminals study commuters' behavior. They know when transport shuts down. That's when attacks peak. Despite repeated promises of reform, commuters say little has changed until public transport works for everyone. Every day and night, the street remains unsafe.
I think hardship. Some people like me, I can't follow all this one chance. Me, I struggle on my own. I'm a taxi driver. So those who are doing all this is lack of job. They don't have anything doing, so they fall doing the wrong things, doing the one chance.
Solving the one chance menace is not just about arrest. It's about fixing the system that enables it. Until public transport becomes safe, reliable, and accessible, the journey home will remain a dangerous one for many. A broken system with deadly consequences as commuters continue to demand safe transport. The question remains, how many more must suffer before real change begins? Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
Thank you, Sadia, for that report. Now let's take you to Ibadan, where the Oyo State Police Command has arrested 7 suspects linked to the January 6 attack on forest rangers at the Old Oyo National Park, which claimed the lives of 5 people. Police spokesperson Oyalade Olayinka said the suspects include the alleged ringleader of the 10-man armed gang, adding that arrest followed intelligence-led operations ordered by the state's Commissioner of Police. Authorities say the suspects are providing useful information to track down remaining gang members as security agencies intensify efforts to restore safety and prevent further attacks in the area. The Commissioner of Police, Benue State Police Command, Emenari Ifanyi, has reassured traditional rulers and displaced residents of its readiness to continue security operations in affected communities to ensure residents safely return to their ancestral homes. Felicity Ndere reports.
The Commissioner of Police, Benue State Command, CP Emenari Ifanyi, is in Naka, the headquarters of Gwe West Local Government Area, for an on-the-spot assessment of the newly approved area command. The visit comes as a result of heightened security efforts to address the farmer header crisis that has displaced thousands of residents from their homes.
The General Police directive was very, very straightforward. Restore peace in Benue State.
During his visit, CP Emenari met with the Tate Yoshin and his council, assuring them that the command is fully prepared to carry out comprehensive clearance operations across all council wards to restore peace and security in all communities.
As far as police is concerned, the days of bandit impunity in Benue State, especially Igwe West, are over. They can never be allowed to establish any bandit camp in Igwe West Forest again. The Inspector General of Police have deployed enough tactical teams, including visiting mopos.
Responding to the CP's assurance, Tete Teoshin, His Royal Highness Daniel Nabunte requested the establishment of police outposts in communities after the operations to boost the confidence of returnees as they resettle in their ancestral homes.
I crave your police indulgence to consider my border communities with Doma as an area of particular concern, so that your men will not only be on ground here.
The IDPs commended the command's ongoing efforts to flush out invaders and restore peace to their communities.
We are here since from 2019 till today. Even during last year, as we were saying, we go to our various places, but we do some certain farm inputs. They have grazed it all.
We were running helter-skelter, but now there is improvement in Igwe West. So we thank God.
The CP and his team also reassured the displaced persons that all the camps will be closed by December as security operations intensify. In Naka, Felicity Ndere reporting for Global Television News.
The Anambra State government has announced the expiration of the closure of that placed on Onitsha Main Market, directing traders to resume business activities on Monday, February 2, 2026. In a statement issued by the Commissioner for Information, Dr. Law Mefo, the government assured residents of adequate security, stressing that there is no longer any sit-at-home order on Mondays across the state. The government also warned that civil servants and teachers who fail to report to work will not be paid, while parents were urged to allow their children attend school to avoid sanctions. The Ebonyi State Governor, Francis Nwifuru, has ordered the removal of traditional rulers in the Amasiri clan of Afikpo local government area and directed the withdrawal of their staff of office. He also sacked the Commissioner for Tertiary Education from the area, Professor Amari Omaka, and dissolved the entire political and traditional leadership structure of the community. The actions followed a violent attack on Oporojo in Oso Eda community, Eda local government area, during which 4 persons were allegedly beheaded with their heads taken away by assailants from the Amasiri clan. The governor gave the directive during an on-the-spot assessment visit to Oporojo, where he addressed residents, community leaders, security agencies, and government officials. You're watching the live broadcast of the Midday News. The Midday News continues after this weather forecast plus business and foreign stories. Plot spot on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Hello, glad to have you with us. Let's take a look at the weather forecast for Sunday. The atmosphere is expected to be stable as no fresh dust was raised from the source region. As a result, the north and the north central will see a sunny and hazy atmosphere throughout the day, although slight dust haze is expected in parts of Taraba, Plateau, the FCT, Kaduna, and Niger states. If you're in this region and you have respiratory conditions, please take extra care and necessary precaution. To other parts of the country, a partly cloudy morning is expected. Later during the day, there are chances of thunderstorms in parts of Lagos, Oyo, Ogun, Delta, Edo, Bayelsa, Rivers, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom states. That's the forecast. Stay with us for the temperature forecast. I am Theodora Itum. Thank you for watching.
Welcome back from that break. Now let's take you to the world of business, where the United States and Nigeria have launched a 5-year commercial and investment partnership aimed at boosting trade, attracting private sector investment, and strengthening economic cooperation between both countries. The initiative was unveiled at a ministerial meeting in Lagos, co-chaired by U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary Bradley McKinney and Nigeria's Trade and Investment Minister Jumoke Oduole, with a focus on agriculture, digital economy, and infrastructure reforms. Officials say the partnership will improve Nigeria's business environment, expand non-oil export, and create new opportunities for investors on both sides of the Atlantic. Chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele, has urged Nigerians to file their annual tax returns. He stressed that both employers and individuals must comply under the law. He made this known during a webinar organized for HR managers, payroll officers, CFOs, and tax managers in collaboration with the Joint Revenue Board. Oyedele said many Nigerians remain non-compliant in filing self-assessment returns. He added that individual taxpayers must also file their self-assessment, noting that compliance in this area remains very low. Now to the foreign scene. More than 200 people have been killed after a heavy rainfall triggered deadly landslide at the Rubaya Coltan mine in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, an area controlled by the M23 rebel group. Local authorities say the victims include minors, women, and children, with several others injured and many still trapped as rescue efforts continued amid fears that death toll may rise. The United Nations has accused the rebel group of exploiting the mine, which produces about 15% of the world's coltan, to finance its insurgency in the conflict-ridden region. Israel has reopened the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt on trial basis, allowing sick and wounded Palestinians seek medical treatment abroad after nearly 2 years of closure. The reopening comes amid renewed Israeli airstrike that killed at least 31 Palestinians in a single day, raising the number of deaths since the ceasefire to more than 500. Health authorities says Israel's military campaign in Gaza has killed over 71,000 people since October 2023, while humanitarian conditions in the enclave continues to worsen. The United States government has entered another partial shutdown after Congress failed to pass all required funding bills before the deadline. However, a quick resolution is expected after the Senate approved a funding package to keep most federal agencies running through September, with a short-term measure to sustain homeland security operations. President Donald Trump has backed the deal and urged the House of Representatives to act swiftly when lawmakers return from recess. Meanwhile, the United States has stepped up pressure on Iran, with President Donald Trump confirming the deployment of a major U.S. naval force to Middle East, even though Tehran is seeking a deal to avert military confrontation. Speaking at the White House, President Donald Trump warned that diplomacy remains an option, but only under a clear condition. Mukhtar Kashim reports.
President Trump says Iran is eager to negotiate with Washington, but insists the United States will not hesitate to apply maximum pressure to protect its interests. The deployment, which Trump described as a massive naval presence, comes amid heightened concerns over Iran's nuclear program, ballistic missile development, and internal unrest. The U.S. president says the show of force is meant to reinforce America's position, stressing that dialogue will only proceed from a position of strength.
We have a large armada, flotilla, you can call it whatever you want, heading toward Iran right now, even larger than what we had in Venezuela. It's still in front of Venezuela. We're now sending actually a larger number of ships to Iran. And hopefully we'll make a deal. If we do make a deal, that's good. If we don't make a deal, we'll see what happens.
President Trump also made reference to Venezuela, saying the country's leadership is stabilizing, noting that the United States is encouraging the international community to access Venezuela's oil resources for the benefit of its people.
The Venezuelan situation, the leadership is doing a very good job. We're very happy, and we're getting along very, very well. And we're inviting countries of the world very shortly. They're going to be starting to take the oil. We're going to be heading that with the country.
Trump further revealed that Iran had been given a deadline to comply with the United States demands, though he declined to disclose details. He cited reports of Tehran halting execution of protesters as a possible sign of compliance. However, the U.S. president avoided committing to any military course of action if talks fail, saying all options remain on the table. As tensions remain high, Washington maintains that diplomacy is still possible, but backed by overwhelming military strength. Mukhtar Qasim, reporting for Global Television News.
And now to the world of sports. The NBA has unveiled the 10 players selected as starters for the 2026 All-Star Game, scheduled for February 15 at the Indoor Dome in Inglewood, California, with a tip-off set for 12 a.m. of the league marks its 75th All-Star edition. Stephen Curry, Luka Doncic, Shai Alexander, Nikola Jovic, and Victor Wembanyama headlined the Western Conference starters, while Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jaylen Brown, Gianni Brunson, Gade Comihan, and Tyrese Maxey were named starters from the Eastern Conference, with selection made without regard to position. Fans accounted for 50% of voting, with the current NBA players and a media panel contributing 25% each. And that's the size of the midday news. A quick reminder of that global on your screen using @GlobalTV.NG. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thanks for watching.